We stand here this afternoon on Wadawurrung and Wurundjeri land, and on behalf of the RSL, I acknowledge the traditional owners of the country that we're on and recognise their continuing connection to the land, waters and culture, and I pay our respects to elders past and present. Current and ex-serving defence members, special guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and again the donkeys and horses of the Ballan Light Horse Troop. My name is Pippa. I'm the President of the Ballan RSL sub-branch, and on behalf of the RSL, I welcome you to our Ballan Cenotaph service. Today we mark the 111th anniversary of the Gallipoli landings, and also we mark the 110th anniversary of the first Anzac Day services. And in 1916, the spontaneous gatherings of servicemen and women and community members in France, Britain and across Australia and New Zealand weren't then called Anzac Day, nor did in that first few years of Anzac Day, nor did they use the symbols of remembrance and reflection and commemoration that are central to our services today. Instead, amidst the horrors of the still raging Great War, people gathered to share their grief at the shocking losses during the Gallipoli campaign and in the Middle East and on the Western Front. But they also gathered to express their pride that Australia and New Zealand had done their part, that they stood up without flinching in the face of a relentless enemy. And that pride was graphically demonstrated when over 2,000 Australian and New Zealand troops marched through London on that first Anzac Day in 1916. The Prince of Wales took the salute as the troops marched past Anzac House in the Strand, Australia House in the Strand. And during the commemoration service later that day in Westminster Abbey, King George V praised the Anzacs' courage and valour. Also, an evening edition of a London newspaper on the day dubbed the Anzacs as the Knights of Gallipoli, a name that stuck and the honour of which is still used today. And most RSL sub-branches have at least one commemorative display on their walls depicting the Knights of Gallipoli. At the Ballan RSL we have two. Today, 110 years on from the first Anzac Day, Australian and New Zealand troops still march through London on Anzac Day, and Westminster Abbey still holds an Anzac Day commemoration service, and a member of the royal family still attends that service. And here at home, the march of current and ex-service members has become a central element of Anzac Day services, a poignant symbol of remembrance and honour, and also in the coming together of those who have served. It's an aid for healing. On this day across Australia and New Zealand, and in many places overseas, including where Australians and New Zealanders military personnel are serving, people are meeting together to remember. Anzac Day services where we gather together, surrounded by our comrades and neighbours, have a solemnity and poignancy peculiar to themselves. Has that speaker's just cut out? Can you still hear me? Yeah, oh, thanks. I'll start that bit again. Anzac Day services where we gather together surrounded by our comrades and neighbours have a solemnity and poignancy peculiar to themselves. No other event in Australia or New Zealand carries as much meaning and reverence, and it's right and proper that we take a moment to reflect upon those who were lost, as those who attended the first Anzac Day services in 1916 did. Anzac Day also allows us an opportunity to remember not only the original Anzacs, but all Australian and New